The NRL draw is out for 2025. Let's get my quick reaction and then I'll do a deeper analysis later. I've got to duck off to work in a sec. So I haven't seen it yet. All we know so far is Titans have a bye in round one and then the Eagles have a bye in Magic round. So the draw is very pivotal in the way you select your teams, the way you think about planning out your season. So let's get into it very early. This is when the prep starts from now. And then once we get the game opening and a little bit more of an idea on final signings and all the rest and injuries and everything that comes across the next 3 months or 4 months even before round one. So let's get into that draw as we see it. So as I said, Titans in round one have that bye. Let's move on to round two. And next team on the bye, of course, is Storm. Wow, that's pretty interesting. I thought that was going to be the Tigers there for sure. So Storm out in round two. And as I was saying in the initial reaction to the round one bye and the draw, was that Titans aren't as relevant. And the Storm are definitely more relevant. And, looking to guys, especially in the guns category with Harry Grant, but even guys like, Jack Howarth and these players that have built up a reputation of being a good scorer as well can be very, very interesting. So Storm having a bye in round two, I think, is a pretty big factor to kick off things at the beginning of the season. Because I think from sort of round 3 or 4 onwards, it becomes a little less relevant, but definitely those first couple of rounds, you want to get off to a good start. And I do think the Storm missing round two might push us away from a few guys, but that's just the initial reaction as we see it. All right, some fun games in there for sure. Round 3, we have the Dragons on the bye. So they didn't have such an early bye last year. It's good to see that they've actually changed things around. Apart from the Titans, to be fair, the Storm do seem to have a fairly early bye for the most part. Round 4 seems to be their kind of standard one, but Dragons in round 3, I don't think that affects too much. It's probably a good idea to have a look at some of the the Jacob Littles, Cooks, Guthos, see how it all, and we might even potentially have one of their halves, but I think that'll be fine. It's not going to be someone super expensive, and we can see how the Dragons look across the first 3 rounds and go from there. Round 4, Knights in round 4. Okay, so Ponga, and you got any starters for Ponga? There'll be a few guys that'll be of interest for sure. Guns in the Dylan Lucases, Gaggais potentially, but are you going to start with them? But yeah, I think Ponga is probably the big one with the Knights, just off the top of my head on that one. So that's interesting. Round 4 there. Bunnies and Panthers on the Thursday night. Round 5, we have the Wars. Okay. They didn't have a bye till round 11 or something like that last year. So pretty interesting for that one. It's a little bit different at least, which is good. And again, another one of those teams that will probably, if you were looking at like a Tanner Boyd or Metcalf or one of these halves, I think that round 5 is late enough that you can get a good look at them. And if they're performing, you keep them and take that looper in round 5. And if they're not, you can move them on by round 5. Round 6, we have the Doggies on the bye. So again, they were a little bit later last year, so they've kind of staggered it that way. And I'll have a little look into last year's compared to this year and see how it plays out. But there could be a couple of interesting guys from the Doggies, but probably more on the guns to value type of play. So I don't think round 6 hurts them in any way. Round 7, Macaws. Yeah, that seems fine. I'm not worried about anything sort of round 7, 8, 9, 10. They're a really solid spot to have a bye. It's really going to be from round 13 onwards. So Eels in round 8, which will be fine as well. Round 9, we have the Seagulls. Sweet, which is Magic round. There you go. Round 10, we have the Roosters. So, yeah, that makes sense for them. Get them one before the bye period. We'll see how it plays out across the bye period as well. But round 11, we've got the Panthers there. So, at least, and this is some good news for those looking at Nathan Cleary, those looking at Isaiah Yeo, is that the Panthers finally don't have a bye in the early rounds, which is awesome news for anyone looking to have them as captains. I think it pretty much locks one of those 2 guys in as your captain for the year. And I don't believe we've seen the Broncos yet either. So guys like Payne Haas will stand out as well. Round 12. Okay, we have 7 teams on the bye in round 12. So that's a little bit different this year, how that one's played out. So is that the first Origin week? That must be for round 12, because round 13 you have the 3 on the bye. So 7 and 3. We're keeping that same trajectory there. Round 14, we just have the 1 back to normal with the Roosters. Very, very interesting. So let's just have a look at how many rounds there are again. So we do have the 27 rounds as we've had in the last couple of years as well. So nothing changes as was suspected coming into this draw here. But let's have a quick look at round 12 and those teams on the first bye. Broncos, Cowboys, St. George will have another bye. Storm will have their second bye in round 12. Same with Titans, and that'll be Tigers' first bye. Okay, so there's a few teams there. Cowboys will have their second bye done and dusted as well. So at least with the Titans, you can see there that they've had, round 1. Same with Storm in round 2, but then they get that second bye at this part of the year here, and you hope that they do get their third bye somewhere in the early 20s rather than in that final round. And moving on to round 14, as I said, with Roosters, I believe. Round 15, we've got Broncos, so they go again. Storm go again, so they'll have their 3 byes done and dusted by round 15, which is pretty interesting. And then back-to-back major byes for the Tigers as well. Broncos back-to-back across those 2 as well. Very interesting, very interesting. Warriors will be done too by that point. Again, we'll have a more comprehensive look a little bit later, but I do have to head off to work. Doggies, St. George, does that get their second or third? And then the Seagulls get their second there. Doggies their second as well in that round 16. Round 17 standalone is the Roosters for their second bye of the season. Round 18, we see the Wars come up again. The Panthers come up again, which is cool. So they missed 2 of the majors, basically, I believe. Dolphins pop up in that one. Sharks finally pop up there as well. Round 19, Bunnies, Raiders, Eagles. All right, round 20 is the Broncos by themselves. That makes sense. Post buys. Round 21 for the Finns. Round 22 for the Knights. Sweet. Round 23 for the Tigers. And then the all-important finals rounds. Raiders. Okay, I don't think that'll be too relevant, which is cool. Round 25 will be the Sharkies. They'll probably have some relevance. Mr. Nico Hines. Round 26, a lot of people's grand finals. It's the Latrell Mitchells and the Cam Murrays of the world in that second to last. And then that final round is my Cowboys. There you go. Final round. I don't know how much that helps them, but I suppose hopefully if they're going into the finals series and the finals period in a good spot, then that bye gives them a little rest and reprieve ready for, hopefully, top 4 season. So there you go. It's my initial reaction to the buy setup for the year. 27 rounds again. It's going to be the same format for Fantasy and SuperCoach. I do wonder if anything will change in the game, and I hope there are a few changes. As we mentioned in that, go back and check out the proposed changes that we all popped in there. If you like any of them, you can send an email through to NRL.com. I'm sure that they will love some feedback. But yeah, it's a buy section. It looks like it'll be fun. As I said, that I don't think it'll affect captaincy, which is good. And then it'll just be our normal navigating from there. And I'll do a deeper analysis and a deep dive a little bit later, probably start of next week when I have some time to really go through it over the weekend and go from there. And then that'll be basically the majority of our little early preseason stuff. It's just all this information's coming out now and I may as well react to it. So thanks for this, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.